All right, Nick, if the Blazers are going to pull off the upset, well, what's the first item on their to-do list? How are they going to do it?
Well, they must win one of these first two games. You don't win one of these first two games, then all of a sudden you're in one of these two scenarios. You either have to win 4 straight to win the series, or you have to win 4 out of 5, including a Game 7 on the road, which is so rarely done in conference finals.
And I think, Nick, you believe that the probability, because you know you're not going to see Kevin Durant or Boogie Cousins in those first 2 games. So not only just for the percentages, but as far as the Warriors might get better if the series ends up going 6 or 7 games.
Absolutely right. Like we know you're not going to see KD tonight or Thursday. Personally, with the way, not only the way he got injured, but the reaction right after the injury, Steve Kerr's comments yesterday leads me to believe Kevin Durant's not going to be playing basketball for the next week. The Western Conference Finals are every other day. By 1 week from today, we will be discussing Game 4 that will have just happened the night before. Game 4, it goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. I would be surprised if Durant plays in any of those first 4 games. We know he's not playing in the first 2. So Portland has to get out to an early start in this series, if you will. And the way you do that is Dame and CJ have to play Steph and Clay, not even, but close enough to even to where Portland has their one advantage in this series, which I think is their depth, compared to Golden State's lack of depth, to where they go to their bench units, you can win those segments of time. You can win the tail end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, tail end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, because if the Warriors starters blow you off the court, then it doesn't matter how much deeper you are. But I don't think this is, with KD being out, I don't think this is as lopsided as Vegas says. I think the Warriors are the favorites. But I looked this morning. Warriors are minus 600. You have to risk $600 to win $100 for them to win the series. Vegas is giving the Blazers about a 15% chance to win. I think it's closer to a 30% chance, about a 1-in-3 shot. So I do think Portland has a plausible path, most notably because of the Golden State injuries. But every one of those paths involves them winning one of these first 2 games in Oracle.
When it comes to the Warriors, we talk about something called muscle memory. Your body's just going to figure out how to do it. The Warriors quickly figured out how to win when KD left. They already know how to do it. They don't have to change that much. Don't you agree that that's still going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for the Blazers?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that, and you talk about the 11 players that played in the first half of the game, a lot of them gaining confidence because Steve Kerr, this is more like the situation they played, or the basketball that they played before they got Kevin Durant. So I think the younger players, especially playing at home, they're coming off a huge win in Houston. Them playing at home, I believe those first 24 minutes are very, very important that they establish. Because I believe they will play a lot of players, and I believe it won't be an advantage that Portland, on paper, it says, man, they got a better bench. But I believe that Steve Kerr has empowered his team through that Game 6 victory with the amount of minutes. 11 players played more than 3 minutes in that first half of the game. And I believe that they'll play a style. I believe they'll play the best defense. They'll play with a lot of energy, and they'll have a lot of fun on the court. That was the style for which a lot of people fell in love with the Golden State Warriors. And I believe that Steve Kerr, what he did after game number 5 when they played that fabulous 14 minutes without Kevin Durant, empowering the team, letting everyone who dresses be ready to play. And I think that's the type of attitude they'll have starting game number 1, and that will carry them through the series.
And so I look at that slightly differently. I think that is potentially a danger spot for the Golden State Warriors in this regard. I think Steve Kerr is a fabulous NBA coach, and he's even better, almost better as an NBA psychotherapist, almost better as massaging egos, making sure everyone feels respected and needed. But where Kerr's gotten himself in trouble, and where I think his biggest weakness is those in-game rotation decisions. And when it was pared down to we're only playing 7 guys, those decisions became easier for him. Once he played 11, and they had success with it in Game 6. If I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, my one concern is, does he all of a sudden, do we have a reboot of, wait, Festus Ezeli is on the court in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, like where he has had in his past a tendency to expand the rotation too much this time of year, and guys who are not ready, guys who you will, much like we saw with Philadelphia, they played Greg Monroe for a minute and a half. They got outscored by 9 points in that minute and a half. That's why they lost the game. You can put a guy out there that is a bad matchup, that is not ready for the moment, and you can lose the game in those margins. So I understand it's nice that Steph and Clay and Draymond and Iggy aren't going to have to play 42-plus minutes throughout this series, but Kerr's going to have to be very judicious with the guys he realizes early on in the series can play in this series, and the guys that are not equipped to play against Enes Kanter, Damian Lillard, high pick and roll.
Well, you just saw what happened with Kevin Durant. There's wear and tear on this team. There's fatigue. The Rockets team played them hard. The Blazers and the Warriors played the second and third most minutes of any teams right now in the postseason. You got to wonder if that's a little too much tax on the Warriors for them to play all those minutes and not have these guys.
Well, I'm not concerned about that. I think at this point in the season, there's so much adrenaline. They're going for their third championship. They had a chance to reboot after the huge victory in game. We can't forget the boost of energy they got, losing Kevin Durant, but winning in the type of way that they won with Steph struggling in the first half. Because I believe that Steph's going to come out and look like the two-time MVP. And I believe he is the wild card, if there can be one, with someone who has with a resume like Steph's. Can he stay out of foul trouble? Because if he gets into foul trouble, that's one of the avenues for the Portland Trail Blazers to make this difficult on the Warriors.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.